Подходь.
Right, y'all, welcome back to Combat channel. Okay, so today we're checking out another video from the Azov units of them conducting some more close combat in the Toretsk region. So this is about 14 minutes long, and again, it's just very CQB focused, close quarters battle. However, again, like we're seeing with a lot of this close quarters battle, it's not kind of like traditional CQB as you would see. A lot of it is kind of just made on the fly. It's really difficult to kind of develop tactics when you're talking about just these obscure and kind of asymmetrical like enclosures and compounds, because again, a lot of the ceilings are like caved in, a lot of the walls are blown apart. It's hard to just get through doors, it's hard to just walk. So developing tactics is a little bit more difficult. I would imagine a lot of it's kind of more focused on like limited penetration, like doing as much as you can outside of the building before making entry, because again, once you get inside, it gets pretty messy. And again, kind of with what you're seeing with all the holes in the walls, you can kind of do a little bit more or see a little bit more from the outside as well. But again, about 14 minutes long, should be interesting, and hopefully we can provide some interesting commentary for y'all as far as what I'm seeing and what these guys are having to contend with, because again, it looks very messy, very difficult, and just very stressful in like how many different danger areas and places you can get shot on. So let's check it out. Now, as far as like some credence, if y'all are kind of like new to the channel, my experience with what I'm talking from is I served in the Marine Corps Infantry. I was on a CQB, a close quarter battle team, kind of like a nuclear security response team on a nuclear submarine base. And then I served in the conventional infantry. From there, I kind of moved into more like CQB instruction, moving into the Army when I served in the conventional infantry. And then I also did reconnaissance in the Army. And then from there, I have changed jobs, and now I'm more in the intelligence realm. So that's kind of my experience. Again, I just like guns and CQB in general. It's always really fascinating. It's always very nuanced, and there's no like end all be all. There's kind of just things that you can develop to help your survivability, but a lot of things you can't really help. I mean, you can't predict the state of these buildings, but having a flashlight, definitely something you can facilitate, especially when there's no power in any of these buildings. And then that's another thing entirely, taking indirect fire while you're moving in and around these. Oh my gosh, dude, that intro, these guys do a really good job at just like showcasing everything the video is going to get up to. Oh man, there we see it. So there's, again, we're talking about the scouts here. Generally, scouts are not going to be, again, kind of talking from my recon experience, scouts are not going to be a direct action kind of unit. If you're engaging in direct action, you've been compromised, and at that point, you're usually going to break contact and split. But a lot of times when these guys are conducting their reconnaissance, they do find a window of opportunity, depending on how many people they have, depending on how many occupiers there are inside the village. There is the opportunity to engage in direct action, especially if it can give like a unit and adjacent units that much more of a foothold. If you want to kind of like accept that risk, you can do it, and it can pay off some pretty nice dividends. The ghillie top is pretty sick. Oh, he's got a full ghillie. Looks like the cameraman does too. And everything is so loud with like, I don't know if that's like fiberglass or something, but everything's just got to be so loud. It's got to be tough to maneuver in this sort of environment and try and be stealthy.
Есть два варианта. Либо мы вас убиваем, либо вы сдаетесь. 10 секунд до раздумия.
And
so
I wonder how they found that these guys were in here. Maybe they were in here serving as like an observation post, or like they were just kind of like detached from their unit, and these guys through their reconnaissance have observed that they're kind of out and about. So it's pretty easy to tell a pattern of life if you're there for like even a few hours, trying to determine where people are hiding out. But yeah, this is another interesting utilization of a recon unit. Very unprecedented usage with what we're seeing.
5 секунд. 2 секунды. Быстрее.
It's got to be stressful just trusting these guys. Wow. And then they do something like that. It's like you've sealed your fate entirely. Like, what is the point? The outcome is not going to be very favorable. And like they have to realize like what they've been doing anyway, just going into Ukraine. I don't understand the motivation to continue pressing a fight.
Я стреляю.
Damn, all these guys are ghillied up.
Подходь.
But you can see they still have access to all the important stuff. Really nice setups.
Вылазь.
Well, if he wasn't wounded before, he's definitely wounded
Давай еще
now.
одну.
At least got like some blown out eardrums or traumatic brain injury.
Стоп. Я быстрее.
Like, yeah, you're right. Let's get the upper hand.
Враг, враг, враг.
Golly, that thing was just reduced. That sound is terrifying. It's never been like, before this war, that sound was something else. Now, as an infantryman, nice. Damn, was that him? Damn, that good shooting. Holy cow. And that's another thing with like these guys, I can tell like their proficiency and just their basic skills, like, you know, shooting accurately, pretty freaking on point. I mean, their weapons seem pretty well tailored to like be able to employ like accurate fire like that. But I can tell just like the overall like proficiency of them is pretty high compared to some of the other troops that we see like in the conflict who are just kind of part of the more traditional infantry. These guys look like they have better kit in general to kind of facilitate that. And then at the same time, when we've seen Azov, they are generally, you know, better funded, and the scouts themselves, you can imagine the scouts as usual are going to be like a slightly higher caliber, generally speaking, as far as having those fundamentals squared away. And I remember one time, it was just during training, but there was we were in Fort Polk doing a month-long rotation, and I was the recon platoon sergeant. We're moving through the woods. We've been in the woods for like weeks at this point, but there was at one point we were on the complete boundaries of where anybody would be, and because of that, they were flying a drone around. And I mean, with thermals, yeah, it can get kind of scary. During the day, however, not as bad because everything was kind of warm and stuff, very hard to see. So it was not like a scary prospect for us, to be honest. But now, like, if that drone, you know, is carrying explosives, you can bet I'm not going to be doing reconnaissance nearly as effective because I'm going to be looking up a lot of the time. Which is still valuable intelligence to say how many drones you hear or see, or the frequency you're hearing them. And again, another reason why having a flashlight is going to be very helpful. What was this? What was he thinking? Trying to fight from there, dude. Baffling. I wonder if they're gonna disassemble it again and like, or destroy the weapons. We've seen that with a few other Azov videos. He looks like he's dressed pretty comfortably. But their belt setups, they got like, he's got 2 dump pouches. Nice kind of like small bags mounted to their plate carriers. Hika helmets. Looks like their communications is pretty well set up as well.
Есть.
Виходь, говорю. Ти виходиш, або ми тебе вбиваємо. Здавайся в плен. Быстро відкрив двері, руки вперед.
Dude.
Слезогонный.
Tear gas. Nice. Holy cow. They got tear gas. That's pretty awesome. Let's see what their response is going to be. If it's anything but like hands up, then well, that one's gonna hurt a little bit more. Yeah, they've got lasers on their weapons and stuff. Who's firing automatic? The guys inside? Dude. I would always be afraid that there's like another entrance or another exit for them to potentially like sneak out behind. It's like, I guess this was probably just someone's basement or like kind of like crawl space, and they've just repurposed it. Golly. I don't know how much more resistance you can expect from that at that point. Oh, that was them, okay. Yeah, not fucking around with a machine gun. It's possible to maybe, depending on what this looks like, it's kind of like shitty though that they're, you know, they have all these hidden areas around. It just makes you very much at, you know, you can't really be at ease anywhere walking around. But potentially trying to maneuver this way to see if there's any movement, or at least just kind of like wait and bait them out to see if somebody's gonna like try and pop up or start shooting again. Maybe you can get a, you know, eyes on. But thermals might help potentially if they had them. But yeah, it's a tough situation at this point. It's like, why even risk it? Just throw grenades. They've already kind of determined their fate. Oh, there's a pistol there. Might be unavailable. So initially they saw two. I'm guessing, well, it's one of them right there. I take it.
Двое. Чисто.
That's unsettling. You can't possibly expect to fight your way out of that hole, though. It's like,
Дыхать там невозможно.
Jesus.
В подвале 2 подтвержденных тела.
Well, all right. Damn, these guys are being very monotonous. But again, I'm starting to wonder, like, who these guys just left behind in these random positions. Wouldn't surprise me if they were left behind. I mean, they don't really care about their people. Oh, is this from the thumbnail? Or the initial intro? Of that dude walking out with all the blood on his head? Again, just so many danger areas to get hit from.
Япония, суббота.
That's a nice looking house too. Damn, what a shame.
Я тебе тоже дуже сильно люблю, суббота. Рука, стоп, кто это?
Oh, fucking hell. Well, I want to see that again. Good spot.
Я тебе тоже дуже сильно люблю, суббота. Рука, стоп, кто это?
Wow, and it freaking barrel right after that. That's crazy. He got pretty close before the dude started like realize there's someone right there. Oh, dude. Snake that one in there.
Выходь!
Oh, man. That was good placement.
Попробуй зайти в той переход.
Good thinking, too. I mean, like, if you have little holes like that to utilize,
Попробуй поговорити з ними.
why not? Again, you do run the risk of getting hit because you can't see what's inside or if there's a barrel right on the inside. But yeah, you can see they're kind of like they're doing that now. They're getting some standoff and they're kind of buying some time to see if somebody's going to start trying to fight their way out, which would be a terrible idea at this point. Damn. Golly. What was that? Jesus.
Сложил вход, парни, контроль.
So eerie. Just the dust. Waiting for the dust to settle. I mean, I don't know how big these basements are, but I can't imagine anybody surviving something like that. At least effectively fighting after that. Oh man, and again, just having gloves is like a necessity. Looks like I touch anything sharp, fiberglass or metal, glass. Just tear your hands up and then you're useless. Look at that light and stuff too.
Все, плюс, продовжим. Друга група работає чи ні?
It's so trippy to think like somebody hung up those decorations at some point. Even just a few years ago.
Если ты еще живой, выходи! Слышишь меня?
It's very likely they're speaking to nobody, you know? Damn, they just get like they've been around it so much they can kind of smell the blood. Their movement though is like, it's like they know where somebody might be hiding out. Oh my gosh, it's so stressful. Just watching it, I mean, I can't even imagine. For them, you know, like they're feeling their pulse in their head, especially when you're wearing a helmet. They're feeling their head throbbing.
Хто такий?
I mean, of course, you're so
Громадянство
focused.
України присутнє? Чого не виїжджаєш? Повтори.
Damn, dude.
Жінка теж тут?
Да, жінка живе тут. Бачив тут?
Ні, нікого.
Не бачу.
Ні.
Телефон є?
Жінка тут.
Да, там лежить.
Включений.
Сказали, що
Включений.
обіцяли вивезти.
Ну там связи нету никакой.
В підвалі хто? Жінка тільки?
Да, жінка.
Точно?
Точно.
Зараз підеш покажеш.
Давай.
It's like, well, it's a good thing we didn't throw a grenade in that one.
Мене Роман. Валера, збираєш речі зараз?
Да у меня он собранный.
Збираєш речі. Чекаєш, ми сьогодні тебе вивозимо. Прийняв?
Понял.
Медичну допомогу
Damn,
нададуть. А
dude.
ну стой, сломана каш.
Да
Болить?
не, вот тут, я просто больно вот тут. сразу.
Растяжение
Или
может.
сухожилие. Это уже в сентябре месяце. Вот тут как оттуда начали выпить, я в подвал текал. И вперед мозга полетел.
Fucking
вот
hell.
так, и тут
Сейчас я
He's
скажу.
been here the entire time, just dealing with that.
Вони на під'їзді, правильно?
Golly, man.
Все, давайте.
Can't imagine living in a village like that, kind of by yourself with your wife.
Давай, дід.
I mean, you can imagine a lot of people just don't have any options of where to go. It's like leaving your home's gotta be tough. Here in the US, we can only kind of like relate that to certain things like the California wildfires, abandoning your home, but still different circumstances, very much so.
Залазь. Быстрее!
And with a lot of this, not a whole lot of warning, you know?
Закрий! О! Шикардос! Нормально все? Нормально?
Just like that, they're out. Damn. That was a pretty successful mission, I gotta say. Looked like they didn't take any casualties either, which is awesome.
Сідайте, тримайтесь за сідушки, бо буде кидати. Держіться крепко, бо буде кидати.
And they got some civilians out there, which is awesome.
Нормально себе почуваєте?
Now I just wonder where they're gonna get displaced to.
Здорово!
Ви мощні. Красавчик. Коротше, хто захотів, ти сьогодні виїхав.
По факту, да.
Хто не хоче...
The spirits have got to be so high after something like that.
Люди сьогодні захотіли, ось вони виїжджають.
Hmm.
Все нормально?
Валера просто говорить, що він просто...
Водички може? Водички?
I like how they left this part in too. Yeah, so another very solid video from the Azov unit. Again, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing them now is I mean, we saw them before doing a lot of like the stormtrooper type of missions, hitting the trenches, which has, again, very much its own kind of lessons learned compared to what they're doing now. And a lot of this stuff is very groundbreaking. A lot of this stuff hasn't been done in a very long time, and a lot of times not in this sort of regard, definitely not with these kinds of weapon systems. So the tactics, everything being employed is going to be very kind of new and just based off of experience, which we can see at this point is definitely paying dividends. But again, now we can see a lot of their operations are kind of more in this urban environment. We're seeing a lot of sort of reconnaissance units, which is awesome to kind of see the implementation of these recon units in these urban areas. Now, again, talking from my recon background, like we did a lot of reconnaissance around towns, but never necessarily through the towns. We did one time because we decided to be a direct action unit, which is kind of cool. But yeah, generally speaking, it's going to be like around a town, never really through it, and never again used to this kind of like degree where they're trying to get these enemy prisoners of war out of hiding, but you know, they kind of made up their mind. Now they're just direct action trying to clear this out as well. So we're seeing them having to use a lot of different kind of styles of tactics in one mission. I mean, we're talking about reconnaissance. We had them ghillied up, but now they're moving into an urban area. So now they need like urban movement and room clearing to a certain degree. Implementation of certain things like grenades hitting like a basement is kind of its own thing, very much different from like trenches or just like CQB. It's a whole nother thing entirely. So there's a lot of things that they're having to do and implement in one mission, and it looks like they're doing a good job with it. Again, I think their overall fundamentals, they can kind of warp them to whatever situation that they're finding in these specific missions or these environments, these towns, and what have you. If you guys are picking up on anything specifically, of course, let me know down in the comments section, things that you're seeing that they're proficient at, or maybe that they can potentially do better or work on, or maybe how the implementation of certain equipment might facilitate this a little bit better. But we're talking about reconnaissance and drones. From my perspective, different from Ukraine as well. A lot of the drones are used as more of like a reconnaissance to support more of a conventional infantry assault. So if you have drones in the air, it might kind of give away, you know, your reconnaissance unit. And at that point, you know, there's no point in having a recon element on the ground if you can kind of just use that. So you're not necessarily going to have that kind of coverage. So you might just be alone there trying to fend off, you know, the enemy drones as well. But a lot of really fascinating things being implemented and things that I'm learning from how they're doing these operations. Again, if you guys are picking up on any other sort of learning points, let me know down in the comments section. And I love these kind of videos so we can kind of break it down and also just share our own experiences and share our own observations as well. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, definitely consider liking and commenting and subscribing. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video.